Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel, and today I have another blood bag for you on a video game. I haven't done this since Cuphead. But today I'm looking at the remake for Resident Evil 4. Now, this game was announced all the way back in 2020. It was when the rumors for this was first about, 3 years ago. So, and a lot of people were kind of worried for when this was going to be, because by a lot of people, the original is considered to be the best game in the franchise. I mean, to me, for me, it's kind of not really. I still think the original RE4 is great, but compared to, 7, 8, and the remake of 2, yeah, the original RE4 is not that great when compared to those. I still very much like it, but now the remake for RE4 came out last Friday, on March 24th. Well, it's that old by the time of recording, and I'm here to say it's very fucking good. Seriously, I mean, don't get me wrong, I wasn't going into this with low expectations or anything. It's still Capcom, and they make quality stuff. So, I was going into this with, I guess, no real expectations, whether or not it was going to be good or bad, because the RE2 remake was fucking incredible, and was really well made, and is better than the original. But then the RE3 remake came out, and it was severely lacking and very disappointing, especially compared to the original, which had a lot more. So, because of those two, I didn't really know what to expect for the remake 4, but I'm happy to say it's very good. So, let's start out with the positives, because I have almost no negatives with this, but starting off, of course, the graphics are leagues better than the original, but again, the original came out in 2005, and that was the best graphic quality they had at the time, so. But yeah, with the updated graphics, we now have a lot more. The game has what I'm trying to say is that the updated graphics allow the game to be way more gross. Which, when you have stuff like RE7, which in my brain was always the grossest Resident Evil game, the remake of 4 is definitely up there in terms of the gross scale. But the graphics also allowed for a lot of cool designs, because in the original RE4, one of my main problems with it in the original was that the villagers in RE4 don't look too special. Like, with the zombies in 1, 2, and 3, they felt like, like a lot. Like, they looked like zombies. But with the villagers in 4, they just looked like people. And I guess to an extent, if that could be kind of creepy, just having normal-esque looking people trying to kill you. But in the remake, they are fucking feral. They are covered in blood, and they look more like the Ragers from 28 Days Later, which is a great movie. But so yeah, again, it allows them to, it makes them more imposing and a lot more scary. And speaking of scary, this game is way scarier than the original. When I played through the original RE4, I was not terrified once, which goes to show you how that game was not scary at all. It was, again, still a lot of fun action, though. But yeah, the remake of 4 is way scarier than the original. And again, a lot of that is because of the better graphics, but there were a lot of moments in this that had my skin, like, kind of goosebumpy, Particularly the kind of like the stuff around like the cave areas and Salazar's castle were done really well in a way that is scary. Like, And again, the regenerators, for one, are terrifying in this. In the original, they weren't that scary. I mean, they were threatening, but they weren't that scary. In the remake, the regenerators and the Iron Maidens are terrifying. And again, like I said, a lot of it is with the updated graphics and that's kind of why it's so way more terrifying. But now let's get into the non-graphical stuff that this remake changes. For one, some of the gameplay mechanics. Now, for one, this game completely removes the QTE segments from the original. You know, like the boulder chase, the knife fight with Krauser, and a lot of the quick time events with like the enemies like grabbing you. Those are all gone, and thank God, because those were so annoying in the original. To give you a little background, I don't like QTEs in games. For games that have them, and like for games I like that have them, I tolerate them. I still don't like them, but in the RE4 remake, in the original RE4, the QTEs were just really annoying, and you had like as soon as it popped up, you only had like a few seconds to react, or like a split second even. But thankfully, the remake gets rid of all of that shit and just replaces it with like I guess like kind of like with the RE2 remake, where if a zombie grabbed you, you could just stab it. They just have that, which is a lot better. Another thing they changed was Ashley, the president's daughter. You know, the one you have to, the reason why you're there. In the original, she was really annoying. Like the mechanics with her in the original, like having to protect her from the villagers and other things, I didn't like that. It felt a little too monotonous. Like, it felt like every few seconds she was like getting kidnapped and hauled off, and you had to like save her, and it was super repetitive and annoying. In this one, she can somewhat fend for herself, which is great. It's not as annoying, and you know, you can get through the game a bit quicker. Again, you still have to save her from the villagers and shit, but at least it's not as frequent, is what I'm trying to say. They make it less annoying by making Ashley a little bit more capable of defending herself. Now, and yeah, that's practically most of what they changed. Of course, there's some like plot differences. Well, actually, no, the plot's pretty much the same. The only real differences in terms of story is the designs of some of the bosses and the way some of the bosses play, because particularly with two of the bosses, they are completely different from the original, and that's being the bosses with Ramon Salazar and Jack Krauser. They are completely different from the original. In the original, the fight with Ramon Salazar is that he is stuck to the wall, and you have to shoot at him from the ground. In this one, he is completely mobile. He's like completely... He moves like a fucking octopus, and it's disgusting. And yeah, you have to be way more quick with your movements. That's another thing they added as well, is that it has a greater emphasis on quick movement, you know? Not so much like QTE, but more of like quick, actual like motion movement, you know? And it's the same thing with the Krauser fight. In the original Krauser fight, which I also fucking hated, you had to do like puzzles and shit to like, I guess, open up more of the area while fighting him at the same time. And it was all timed, and I didn't like that. But in this one, it's more of a death run that utilizes that like quick movement, you know, quick defensive shit. Parries, which is a new thing. That was one of the new mechanics they added, which was knife parrying and parrying with other things. So you have to utilize that a lot throughout the whole game. But yeah, overall, in terms of boss changes, it's for the better. It's much fucking better. So yeah. Do I have any negatives with this remake? If I had to say one, is that some sections feel a little drawn out. Especially, like, kind of the stuff in the village feels a little like kind of just drawn out, you know. After a while, you're kind of just not really doing much. But yeah, that's kind of my only real complaint. But yeah, putting the Resident Evil 4 remake into the old blood bag here, I'm going to give this a 95%. This is a very good remake, and for me, it's better than the original. So, do with that with you... No, you know what, I'm not even going to try and say that. But yeah, very good game, and I cannot wait to see what Capcom has next in store for the Resident Evil franchise. Because, spoiler alert, it seems like they're going to try and remake RE5 as well, which that'd be interesting to see, considering there is an after like credits cutscene that shows Mr. Albert Wesker. So, if they do try to remake RE5, I'm down to play that. But yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and I'll see y'all next time. I forgot, you know what? Yeah. I'll see y'all next time. Goodbye.